Hey everyone, it's Clay Doolin from Doolin Guide Service coming to you today from Bull Shoals Lake, where I've been fishing the last few days. Here for the Branson Area Fishing Report again, and the fishing's been good. A lot of people may think that it wasn't going to be good because of the big rains that came, and there for a couple of days it did shut some things down. We had 8 to 10 inches of rain come down over a couple of days, and it has rose all the lakes up and muddied some things up. But to me, that's a good thing because now we've got some change for the first time. And change this time is good. Water temperatures have gone down since last time I made a video from that 69, 70, 72 degrees. Now we're down into the lower 60s. The lower 60s are good now because now all these shad are coming to the back of the pockets. I'm way back in some crazy area on Bull Shoals right now. And there are shad, small threadfin shad in giant schools back here. And the fish will school them up. Been really, really good on Bull Shoals. It has been fairly productive on Table Rock and hit or miss on Taneycomo depending on the day, especially with the current and things of that nature after the rain. So we'll start first with Table Rock. Table Rock, we'll start with the crappies. Crappies have been good on Table Rock. My father goes out all the time on Table Rock, fishes for crappies up the Kings River arm, and he bass fishes and a little walleye too. No walleyes to speak of up the Kings or the White just yet, and nothing's really going. But the crappies have been pretty good. You can catch them in the standing timber along the bluff walls going up the Kings River arm, and he's trolling a split shot and a small crankbait in between the standing timber off the bluff walls. Bass wise, there's a good bite going on a spinnerbait when you can find shad. Like a willow leaf spinnerbait back in the creek arms, the major creek arms going up the Kings River. Doing really well there on a spinnerbait and a jig. Jig on the bluff wall, the last little bluff wall before you get to the back, and then a spinnerbait when those shad start to emerge and appear in the shallow water up against shallow wood. Same thing kind of goes for Bull Shoals, but the Bull Shoals bite has really gotten good. If anybody's wanting to come to the Branson area right now, Bull Shoals is really good. There's floating debris all over the lake. The lake has rose from where it was at to 2 feet above, 3 feet above pool, which means that since the last 10 days, it's come up probably between 13 and 14 feet. That means lots of debris in the water. I had to idle through a half a mile to a mile sections of floating debris everywhere all over the lake, but it is worth it. You get yourself all the way into the back of the major creek arms and a lot of shad in some of those creek arms. Some creek arms, nothing, but the major ones have a lot in it. Was recently out on Saturday and I had an absolute banner day. It was windy, rainy. Threw a spinnerbait a bunch, but didn't get a lot on a spinnerbait. Ended up catching a few really nice ones, but on a spinnerbait, but the majority of the damage was done with a crankbait. Rock crawler did the majority of the damage. It's muddy water, and I'm throwing this red with an orange belly and green back on it. It did the majority of the damage. I'm trying to find areas where the creek arm kind of splits, and then there's a center section in that split where there's a ribbon of rock and you can't see it. You might have to use your electronics to try to find that type of stuff, or the last 2 turns of the bluffs before it ends at the back of the creek. There is a lot of flowing water. The flowing water has now come down, not as much flowing water, but the flowing water, if you can find it, they're stacked in it. They are stacked in some of it, not all of it, but if you just keep fishing that flowing water, you're gonna find them. And boy, did we ever on Saturday. Probably, I don't know, 40, 50 plus fish on Saturday, and lots of really nice ones, 3.5, 4.5 pounders. And we caught walleyes in with them. We caught white bass in with them. There several smallmouth, most of them were largemouth, and a bunch of spots in with them too. And once you're around them, you get 1, 2, 3 bites, slow down, and then just fish the entire area because they're loaded. You can go long stretches of this lake and not catch anything, but when you finally find them, they are loaded, loaded, loaded. So it has been a fantastic bite out here on Bull Shoals the last few days. Came out today. Conditions are a little different. Not as windy, not as rainy and overcast, so the bite isn't as good, but still in the similar areas. If you can find that running water, fish the running water. If you can't find the running water, wherever you thought that there would be running water, some drains and ditches, just back out off that and start cranking again. That rock crawler is a big player. Now you get towards the backs of the creeks and you find individual stumps. I'm not talking bushes or a bunch of logs hanging one direction. If something's sitting on the bottom, center of the creek, 3-4 feet of water in a mud flat, and there's a big, giant standing piece of timber, those individual pieces of isolated cover, I'm fishing them with a black and blue jig, heavy black and blue jig, or I'm fishing it with a square bill. If they won't eat that black and blue jig pitched up next to it, a lot of times those fish are around it. You just dropped that jig in that muddy water and they didn't see it. They didn't feel it. Throw that square bill. This is KVD, Strike King KVD 1.5. It's just a big, ugly square bill. And you knock that thing off the wood, the individual stumps, the laydowns, the big single-eyed pieces of structure, and they will eat this way better than they will just even eat the jig. The jig has not been a massive producer, but occasionally I'll catch a couple of decent ones on it. My biggest fish have come on the square bill, and today I got a couple of really nice ones on the bling here, the spinnerbait. I've been throwing it on I'm throwing Colorado bladed spinnerbait, 1/2 ounce, white and chartreuse with a orange kicker blade. It's kind of my go-to. It's what I throw when it's muddy here. To me, it's pretty simple fishing right now. You can go beat the banks at the backs of the creeks and fish them how you want to. I'd ditch all the finesse stuff. I would get to the backs of the creeks and I would fish power baits. If it starts getting slick out on you and everything like that, pick up the jig. Start working the jig a little slower. You'll get lots of bites. Anyway, the bite has been really good, and I think it's going to do nothing but get better. I think we're just about to prime time. In about another week and a half, 2 weeks, I really love the Thanksgiving time of year, from Thanksgiving to Christmas. That to me is my favorite time of year, other than the pre-spawn, to catch really nice big fish in numbers of them. And you can turn the electronics off right now. I got them on just to show temperature and depth so I don't run into things. But really, you can just go around and structure fish at the backs of creeks. You may have to really jump around all the creeks. Some of them are just so full of log jams. For example, Wolf Hollow was completely full of log jams, so much so as you couldn't even get past the mouth of the creek, and it's a mile long. You could walk across all the wood. It was that much of it. So navigating out here a little dangerous right now. There's no doubt about it. You can hit stuff. Go low, go slow, be patient, get to your areas and fish them. There are fish there. The parking lots have not had a lot of people in them because of the higher water, and a lot of the muddy, stained, off-colored water has probably put some people off, or it's just the fact that there's a lot of deadheads out here to hit. That being said, if you're coming to Branson, schedule with me. I'll take you out. I'll hit the deadheads in my motor so you don't have to, and we'll put a bunch of really nice fish in the boat. It's just the perfect time to be out here. Sweatshirt, sunglasses, comfortable. You can't ask for better. The fishing is great right now. I wouldn't want it any other way. So come down to Branson if you're up north. I got a lot of folks that I know up north, up in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, North Dakota area. And you folks should come down here now that it's icing up north and just have a blast fishing in the sun like it is today, or even fishing when it's raining. It's still warm out and the fish are biting. They are biting. So, yep, give me a call, 417-332-5873. Talk to you guys later.